that all of this exists because of the exhilarating experience or moment in time of making that movement from where you are to the next place. You say in physical terms, the joy is in the journey. It's like, why would someone go to all of the trouble to load everything into the car and drive all the way to an airport and fly high to a mountain where they can ski down a slope? Seems like a lot of effort for that thrilling moment of skiing. Why do you seek those moments in time where you feel the exhilaration of it? Why would you set yourself up for contrast and for birthing a new idea if it were not because in the then moving toward the new idea there would be the thrill of that ride? Jerry and Esther went whitewater rafting summer before last, and it was such a wonderful day. And they were almost all day on the river. And at no point did they say to the river guide, where are we going to come out? And he would say, oh, many miles downstream. They didn't say, well, we'd like to just put our river raft back on the bus and drive it down. It'll be faster. And then we'll just put it in the water a few hundred yards from where we're going to take it out, because we like instant manifestation. We want this adventure to just be done. Because they didn't go on the river because they wanted to get it done. They went on the river because they wanted to be on the river. They wanted the exhilaration of it. They wanted the experience of it. They wanted the spray in their face. They wanted the water in their boat. They wanted the energy to pour through them. They wanted the fun with their friends. They wanted to see this canyon in a way that they had not seen it before. They wanted to feel the prowess of their physical apparatus. They wanted the camaraderie that would take place in the boat. They wanted the journey. They wanted the ride on the river. They wanted the ride on the river. And that's why it all exists. We all continue to enjoy the ride on the river. But you know, outside the vortex, like so many humans are, it doesn't make sense. Wait, I was in non-physical where it's pure positive energy and everything was going well, and then I decided to come here where there's struggle and wars and violence and cancer. Why? Why would I do that? And we say, because in all of that you ask for more, and when you ask for more, source lines it up, and the next generation will benefit by the asking of the last. But you never said, not one of you said, I'll go forth and sacrifice myself into the contrast in order to give birth to stuff that I'll never allow myself to live. Not one of you said that. Every one of you said, I'll give birth to expansion that at some point I will realize, and I will take that ride of realizing the expansion that I've taken. So when you hear, and you hear it a lot, that the joy is in the journey, this is just the advanced version of the joy being in the journey. In other words, if you don't live enough life to pose a question, then you'll never find the thrill of the answer. And there is thrill in answer. If you're not willing to expose yourself to the potential of a problem, then you'll never feel the exaltation of a solution, you see. You sort of kind of get it. We watched Jerry and Esther with their bus and the one before and the one before and the one before and the one before. In other words, all of this exploration with all of these moving parts. And the stories, if you've been listening to us for a while, you've heard many of them. As something happens that is out of the ordinary and they are stymied, they don't know even how to begin to fix it. And then they find a way. One day, Jerry stopped to put oil in the engine. And he failed to put the oil cap back on. Distracted. And Esther is driving, and the oil is spraying out of the back of the bus and all over the tow car, and they don't know it. But there's enough oil in the engine that it's not causing any problem. It's just inconvenient. And then they stop at a rest stop, and Jerry usually walks around, and he sees oil all over everything. And now he looks, and the oil cap is gone. So he says to Esther, you know, this is not under pressure. Maybe we can find something in the bus that would plug up this hole, at least stop the oil from coming out. So now Esther is in action. How big is the hole, she wants to know. So Jerry draws her the size of the hole, and now Esther is running around in the bus looking for something to fill that hole. She has a new goal. Fill the hole. She's not even so worried about the oil that's all over everything. She is enlivened by the new quest. So she brings this out and it's too big, and she brings this out and it's too small, and she brings this out and it's not heavy enough, and she brings this out. She's just coming out and coming out and coming out. What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? And then she comes out. She thinks she has found the perfect thing. It is a brass coupling for hoses where two pieces hook together to make the hoses easier to hook up and unhook. And she says to Jerry, I think this is the right size. I think it is the right weight. I think it is the perfect thing. And Jerry looks at it and he says, I think you're right. So he holds it over the hole. And while he does, without meaning to, he pinches it, and the bottom half of it falls in the crankcase. Contrast has caused a new desire. Now, they don't dare start the engine because they don't know where that has gone. So now they have a new quest, a new objective, a new reason to be alive. So Esther goes into the bus, finds something to stand on, drags her little ladder out, climbs up on it, looks in it with a flashlight and says, I can see it. It's on the edge, just out of reach. And Jerry says, you're going to have to fish that out of there because my hands are too big. So Esther squeezes her hands as small as she can and reaches with deftness and puts her fingers down into the crankcase, feels it, gets hold of it, and pulls it out. And now they are more in love than they have ever been in their life. Life is fuller and sweeter and more delicious. They are in love with life. They are in love with each other. In other words, they have moved to a new place that they have never been before, you see. And now they drive and they find a place that has the oil caps that they can replace. And as Jerry is going in to get it, Esther says to him, get two. And Jerry says, no, because if I ever do this again, I will just kill myself. And Esther said, yes, but you'll be dead and I'll still need an oil cap. So what we are getting at is, really, in other words, some would look at that as a trouble, as a trauma. We saw it, and they saw it, and they realized that this is what makes life sweet. In other words, life keeps calling more from you. You keep finding out more who you are. And those simple things, now there are many who would criticize and say, well, if you don't make mistakes, you won't have to look for solutions. But we say it is the looking for the solution. It is the becoming who you are. You've come forth for life to call more through you. And when life calls more through you and you don't go, you suffer. But when life calls more through you and you do go, you triumph. And that's why it all exists, you see. For the fun of it, for the joy of it, for the expansion of it, for the freedom of it, for the thrill of it, for the joy of it, for the love of it.